And hello again, everybody, and welcome to a Saturday afternoon of world-class thoroughbred action live at Hallandale Beach, Florida at Gulfstream Park. 10 races on the program here this afternoon as we welcome you into the Gulfstream Park studios. Change here.
Yeah.
Don't adjust your TV sets. Track announcer Pete Aiello, joined by our racing analyst Samantha Perry, getting ready to take you through a 10-race afternoon. First post time is 12:50. Nice jackpot pool guarantee in the Rainbow Six as we dodged a bullet yesterday there.
Oh, yeah.
So, Sam, first of all, let's get the formalities out of the way. Everyone, happy birthday to Samantha. She didn't want anybody to know, but now everybody knows.
Now everybody knows. It's okay. Thank you and everybody that made it so special. This place is home now for me, so it's happy to be here.
And we're certainly glad to have you as well. So 53 minutes now to race number one. Again, a Rainbow Six jackpot pool guarantee of $200,000. It starts off with race number 5. Did it get the scratch bug a couple of legs into that sequence, including the 8th race where Second ID will now be a prohibitive favorite and looks like a single. The feature race today is the Azalea as race number 9. But as always, race number 1 kicks off the early pick 5. Sam, what about the early pick 5 today?
Yeah, I've got a ticket, and I like this sequence a lot today. We'll get to this race, Pete, in just a moment. Race 2, the 4 on top for me, that's Loyal Louis for the Kent Sweezy barn. Race number 3, it's a maiden 12-5 level. 6, it's my single shakeup. We've got a replay. I think this horse coming from Oaklawn should be pretty tough here today. Race number 4, the 8 on top for me. That is Fire Crow for Savvy Joseph. Huge drop in class. And race 5 to end the sequence. A bit of a spread here, but the 4 on top, gotta like him. $36 for me, and I can imagine this first race will be pretty wide open, Pete.
I was just going to exactly try to set the stage the same way. The first race of the day on the Tapeta track. Main track is fast. The Tapeta track is always fast. We start on the all-weather surface at 5 furlongs. Maiden claimers in for a price tag of $12,500. A couple of scratches in this race. Scratch the 6 and the 9. Also take out the alternates. The 6 figured a chance in here, so maybe one of the contenders goes out, but still a lot of different ways to go here.
Yeah, there is, and I put Mikasa on top in this spot. I like the jockey switch to Hector Diaz. This is a rider that he rides at Tampa during the winter time, and then he rides a lot at Monmouth, but luckily for us, he's moved some of his tack down here. He's still kind of splitting his time between Jersey and Hallandale Beach, and I just think that he's done such a good job adapting to this Tapeta track. Sometimes I feel like it could be a little bit hard if you're not familiar with it, and Kathy Ripvo, only one win on the meet, but I think this is a sneaky horse.
Yeah, I definitely think that this horse has a shot. We want to show you a replay of Mikasa and Hustle Queen. They come out of the same race last time out. Acquired Taste, of course, was in there, but has been withdrawn, so has Miss Goldie. So the key contenders here in this replay are Hustle Queen in the yellow, and then Mikasa's in the blue down toward the inside.
And what I wanted to show with this race, Pete, is I think that Hustle Queen really didn't have an excuse here. Now, Mikasa made a huge move on the rail, and you can just see the physicality difference between Hustle Queen and Mikasa. Mikasa is just a very compact horse and just was able to weave her way through the traffic. Hustle Queen finished a bit even for me. I just think that she's had her shot. She's 5 years old now, and I think she'll be really heavily bet. The early money is going on Hustle Queen, pardon me, and I just think that that's the reason why.
She's been burning more money than the federal mint of late talking about Hustle Queen. But the one good thing about it is had a lot of layoff lines. I think whatever there was the issue is now not the issue anymore. She's been racing quite a bit. The 10-horse Mad Madame Mim. I figure this horse has got to take some money, right? You used her in the prominent position. Safi Joseph Jr., anything he runs is always attractive to the bettors.
Yeah, it is. And Edgar Diaz lands here as well. This is his main guy. Huge drop in class as well. It's an interesting cutback because it's not like this filly showed a lot of speed last year. We'll see how she handles it today, but I would be hesitant to take it at short price.
Almost feels like they're just starting over with this horse.
Exactly, yeah, going back to the drawing board.
Well, that's race number 1, second race of the afternoon. We stay on the all-weather. We stretch out a 16th of a mile and go 5.5 furlongs. These are allowance optional claiming horses, Florida breds. In fact, in this race, Sam, for making the lines perspective, a lot of different class variables here. Horses that just broke their maiden, horses that are proven commodities like Loyal Louis, and that's where you went.
Yeah, I did. And Loyal Louis, this is the class of the field here. Lionel Reyes stays aboard. He won on this horse 2 starts back. I'm not a huge fan, and you've probably heard me say this many times. I don't like when horses win on the Tapeta and come back and try to repeat those victories. There's not many that can do it. Loyal Louis proved that theory right last time, just finishing kind of a flat 5th place finish. But wasn't much of an excuse there, but if you just put your finger over that race, the rest of his races are solid.
Absolutely, and the thing about it is a lot of these horses are coming out of the same race. Your second pick, Free Smoke,
Yeah.
just ran against Loyal Louis, and they both lost to Extendo.
Yeah.
Extendo, track record holder on the Tapeta track, so the company line is solid with those top two contenders.
Yeah, it is. And Free Smoke is one that has surprised me since we first saw the horse debut in early February. Had so much hype on debut, and I didn't see it at all. And I remember this day saying, don't bet this horse.
I wish I'd have listened to that advice.
Listen to me, Pete. And this horse just ran exceptionally well in the Tapeta for the first time, or second time, pardon me. But I just think that this horse is a player and drawn well, but I'm going to take a horse that's got a little bit of back class instead.
Loyal Louis, Free Smoke, two key contenders. The morning line favorite, and I readily admit as the line maker, he may not be favored, but 8-9 Go has been favored in each of his last two races for high-profile connections in Rohan Crichton. Speed, the weapon of choice, but there's other speed in here.
Yeah, there is, and I think he'll probably get hooked here, Pete. I don't trust him, and now he's got a little bit of a weight break, which should help him quite a bit, but I don't trust him.
Understandable. Let's move now to the third race. First main tracker race of the afternoon. Maidens in for the 12,500. We go 6 furlongs on the main track, as mentioned. Shake Up, a horse that, again, they just look like they're completely starting over. Major class drop for him. What do you do here?
Yeah, and we've got the replay, and you know Oaklawn as well as I do, and you know how taxing this track is. Look at him range up here in the white blinkers. This horse just looked so game in his last start here. He wasn't able to get it done. The stretch at Oaklawn, it can be a tough one, huh, Pete?
Especially calling races. The later in the day it is, the tougher it gets. But
yeah. It's a race to me that he ran so well. He was widest of all. The winner was a heavy favorite that day. I think that on paper, this horse ran much better than it seems on the running line.
Well, the one thing, too, about it is those were Arkansas-bred maidens. So
yes.
This is an aggressive race placement, but it's not a tumbling class drop. If he was coming out of special weights at Oaklawn in for 12.5, I'd suggest to run the other way. But another couple of things to keep in mind, the 4 Tick-Tockable and the 5 Emergency Response both gone in here. Tom Durant, as the owner, had the 5 and the 6. He scratched one of them. To me, that speaks to stable confidence for Shake Up.
Yeah, it definitely does. I think that the acquisition from Jose D'Angelo getting these Tom Durant horses, we're going to see them be very live over the summer.
Speaking story time with announcer Pete, Tom Durant owned Touchtone, who lost to Point Given in the Haskell, being that today is Haskell Day.
Yes, it is.
And I remember that race as a young horse player needing Touchtone, but the great Point Given was not to be denied.
No.
The number 1 Geothermal in that third race is a first-timer for Safi Joseph Jr. Of the horses that are in there, other than Shake Up, seems to be a logical contender, right?
Yeah, it does. And the rail draw is not always ideal for a first-time starter. When they're 3 years old, I kind of give them a little bit bigger of a pass than when they're 2 years old because they're just not mature enough yet usually to handle that. But nonetheless, it is still not an ideal draw here, but you have to pay attention to everything that Safi runs first time out because usually they strike pretty hot, and hats off to him. He took the opener at Saratoga yesterday with Billy the Greek, who was entered here, and good thing he chose to run at Saratoga.
Yeah, for the Ken and Sarah Ramsey Silk. Saw that race yesterday. We'll keep on the Safi train, but now we'll move to race number 4 on the afternoon. This race is all about Safi. Firecrow, a solid stakes competitor in his youth, is tumbling in for what appears to be a money run here.
Yeah, it is, and it's a bit questionable, and it seems a bit for sale. I've got a stat here that I found with Safi as far as Firecrow goes, Pete, that I thought was kind of interesting. Now, this is the first time for a tag on the dirt here at Gulfstream Park for Safi, 23 for 75. That's a 31 win percentage. These are stats that you don't want to play with. I mean, this is solid.
And he lost to Little Juanito last time out, and Little Juanito got good after that. So
he did.
It's almost, I mean, it's just such a huge class drop that you have to just make reasons for this horse not to fire. And there's a couple of hard knockers in here, though. He's in charge, who you used underneath, as well as Earth, who seems to have good days, a lot more than he has bad days. There's a lot of good contenders. If Firecrow, something's not right with him, or he just doesn't like the main track, which he hasn't been on in over 2 years. I mean, I guess you could swing against if you wanted to.
Yeah, you could, and I think he might just outclass these horses. But, yeah, the main track issue with him, he's not been on it, and like you said, 2 years, and that could be a bit of a problem. But the good news is he's been working really steadily at Palm Meadows where Safi Joseph keeps his string, so I wouldn't worry too much.
Yeah, I mean, the last time he was on the main track, he's fourth in a $200,000
Exactly.
race. So
Yeah.
just to give you an
anywhere
idea,
near that.
yeah, just to give you an idea of the class edge that
Yeah.
Firecrow has. He's the rage in race number 4. We'll take a brief timeout. We'll be back with race number 5, the starting leg of the Rainbow Six. More racing from Gulfstream right after this. And they're off.
My racehorse has opened up a door for people that felt like that door would have never been opened for them.
We can all be owners and we can all get that excitement.
You can meet your horse through the different experiences and all of the events that My Racehorse puts together. You get that hands-on connection.
Whether you have $50 or $500, everyone that joins My Racehorse gets that experience of a lifetime.
I love My Racehorse. Let's go.
Back now on Gulfstream today. Glad to have you with us. Track announcer Pete Eiler, joined by racing analyst Samantha Perry, getting ready to take you through the back half of the Saturday program. The 20-cent Rainbow Six with $200,000 and a grab jackpot pool guarantee. I think the carryover is almost 150, so figure the pool will be way over 200.
Oh, yeah, there's incredible racing throughout the country today. You know they'll be playing. And yesterday, quite a scare, or, well, not a scare for who was alive with a wry sense of humor in the last.
Yeah, it didn't really run much.
No.
I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to be alive for that kind of money.
It's tough, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I'd want the all ball in the last leg.
Yes, yeah, but it was still a great race nonetheless. And Rainbow Six, I've got the ticket. We'll go ahead and show it. And because of the scratches, I was able to kind of bob and weave in some other places. We'll get to this race in just a moment. Race number 6, though, for me, the 7 on top. It's my long shot Vito's brother, hoping to give him another go at it. Race 7, the 8 on top. That is Super Legacy. And race number 8, it was kind of hindered with scratches, but second ID, the 3 was always my top choice. I think this horse will run huge today. In our feature race, the Azalea Flakes on top for me. I love this filly here today. And in race number 10, the 6, I scratch into Doc Ballard. I don't trust this last race too much. We'll see how it goes. Trying to get an 0 for 13 shot home in the last.
Well, I think, but I think that the first leg has got to be by far and away the most difficult leg and the separation leg if you're playing the Rainbow Six today. Yeah. I know that when I made the morning line, I always judge the quality of the race and the competitiveness of the race by how many times I curse the screen when I'm trying to get the race balance. And this was a 4 or 5 cursor here. So field of 10 on the Topeka track, 5.5 furlongs the journey, $12,500 the claiming price here. And Sam gotta like him on a major class drop, but not so much because he broke his maiden at this level.
He did. And the way he won was so impressive, Pete. I mean, you don't see horses just kind of draw away by a length plus in a 5.5 furlong type of race. They brought him back. It was too deep of waters here, and I wouldn't have played him anyways because he was already winning. And I think that the trip last time was not ideal. He kind of had to check around a little bit. This is just such a fitting level for him, and Danny Hertak, wow, what an impressive win yesterday with Sinatra.
It's funny to me, every time he wins, I have to check my calendar and see what year it is because, I mean, growing up, he was the man. And then there was a period where nobody knew who he was, and people know who he is now.
Still.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People know who he is now.
Yep.
I can remember when he won with Conquest Big E. People were struggling to remember, who is this guy? It's like he's got more training titles on the mantle than anybody else around here.
Yep.
But the 6-horse Midnight Getaway, another horse you're using, need to give this horse some airtime just because you like Loyal Louis. This horse has been racing against Loyal Louis, so that's kind of a card-to-card company line for you.
It is, and that's a good point. I like to see when these horses are exiting the same races. Loyal Louis, we'll see how he does earlier. Now, Midnight Getaway, this horse has not been bet at all in his last 2 starts. This is a huge drop in class, and I don't know, if they're not running to the windows on these horses, sometimes I don't trust them right back.
Right. Well, I mean, like you say, this is a big company line difference. I mean, two starts ago, he's racing against no-name dude who's stakes
Very
tested.
tough,
So
yeah.
now we're in for the 12-5. So again, if you're trying to separate the contenders from the pretenders, I think class might be the way to go in race 5.
Yes, definitely.
Let's go to race number 6 now. Very intriguing maiden race. 2-year-olds take center stage here. You have a horse who was all the rage on debut and Big Effect, who fired but was just beat on the money. And then a horse in Titan who seems to be getting better.
Yes.
But Titan's going to be going from the Tapeta to the main track today.
And I love that. And we'll go ahead and pull up the replay of Titan first, because I think that it's good to show how game he was. Now, he was second to Mattingly, and thank you guys. He's in the white blinkers there. Mattingly up front, went to Woodbine, ran second in a stake race there. Very tough one at that on the Tapeta. Titan just plugging away for second here, and he's a bit of a bigger bodied horse. And Pete, for the Tapeta, I kind of like a lighter framed, light on their feet type of horse. And back on the main track, you look at his works, it'd be 47-4, 48-2. I mean, these are works that say, I like the dirt, bring it on.
Well, and it also looks like he wants more ground, and he is
Yes.
going to get some more ground
He
here
will.
today. I'm not so sure that's true for Big Effect, who was a very game runner-up in his career debut at 4-5. The horse who won that race, Venta Tornado, for Jose D'Angelo, he was very, very green, and Big Effect made him earn it all the way to the wire.
Yeah, he did. And leading into my top pick with Vito's brother, they're coming out of the same race, Big Effect and Vito's brother. Now, Vito's brother drew the rail on debut. It's not a spot you want to be for these 2-year-olds. Blinkers go on for him today, and this is a horse that I don't think handled the sloppy going at all that day. And on the other hand of that, Vito's Big Effect, I think, flourished in it. He just kind of plodded away, was having fun like a little duck out there on the rail. And I just think that now you can switch the tables on these horses, because Big Effect, I just think that there are horses that are specialists for certain types of surfaces and weather conditions, and I think Big Effect was a product of that.
Well, that's good news if you're spreading in the Rainbow Six, because this race may be not as easy as it looks on paper,
Yeah.
And that's a good thing as a horse player.
It is, definitely.
Let's go now to race number 7. The 7th race is a mile and a 70-yard event on the Tapeta track as we kick off the late pick 4. Scratch the 4 here. Mannix is out. It's a field of 7. Fly the W. He just keeps on winning. Super Legacy has been in really good form. They seem the best 2 here.
They really do, and Fly the W is a horse that kind of blows up my theory as far as winning back-to-back on the Tapeta, because he's just been so impressive in all of his starts, and I don't want to take anything away from him here, Pete, because he deserves to be a favorite in this spot, but I went a different direction with the number 8, Super Legacy. We've got a replay of this horse. Now, this was in the Soldier's Dancer stake here at Gulfstream Park, a mile and 70 yards on the Tapeta. Super Legacy there on the outside. Now, me and Mr. C, the winner of this race, trained by Mike Maker. This horse went up to Indiana, won a stake race on the grass. This is just a horse that was very strong. Laura Min actually ran in Del Mar yesterday and finished in, I think, an okay 4th place finish. But I just like the way Super Legacy still tried. Even though he was getting passed on the outside, he was swallowed up. He still hung on for 3rd, which I bet when you were calling that race, that looked way too close to call.
Yeah, it was a little bit close
Yeah.
to call. I didn't realize me and Mr. C won that race on Indiana Derby
He
Day.
did.
I saw that he was
Yes.
in, but I didn't watch it.
He
so
did, yeah.
That's even more of a reason to take note of Super Legacy. The thing is with Fly the W, I mean, for me, as a horse player, I always wait for him to have a bad day.
I do, too.
And
yeah.
it just never seems to happen. And it's
No.
like, all right, they're going to hook him, or they're going fast, so he's up there. It just he overcomes all adversity.
does.
But when you talk about a horse like Super Legacy, you could have had him for 8 a few months ago. And now
Exactly.
he's stakes place, so he's in career form right now.
Yes.
The 6, win 99. He's a bit of an enigma. You used him. I don't begrudge you for that. He's very enigmatic. Either he's ready to rock and roll and he's going to fire, or you just don't see him the whole time.
Yeah, and I think just the little bit of some spacing between the races last time was a good thing for him. Now he'll be a bit sharper here today, and he was running on the dirt. That was just his very first Tapeta start. You can just imagine that he's going to move forward from there.
Makes sense. Fly the W, all the rage, but there is some reason to think that you could swing against him, as Win 99 got within 4, and 2 starts ago, Super Legacy got within a length and a half.
Yeah.
So talking about an odds-on favorite in Fly the W, maybe try to swing against him
Maybe.
and blow up that late pick 4. Let's move now to race number 8, the 8th race. This is the race that caught the scratch bug. Take out 1, 2, 4, 7, and 8. Are they just going to hand the purse to Second ID now?
Well, I mean, what was he on the line before? 9 to 5. 5, yeah, so I won't
Which
get anywhere near
well,
that.
he wasn't going to be 9 to 5 anyway, but I just have to sometimes protect in case.
Exactly. And, this is a horse that we've got the replay of. I bet this horse on debut, and he wasn't taking a lot of money for a Safi Joseph first-time starter, 7-2. I will never get anywhere near that price on him again. This horse was so professional, and he's got gears, too. The way he leveled out down the lane, and he was just kind of mildly urged along by jockey Edgar Zayas that day. And before the scratches, I wasn't worried about him. Even more now, I'm not worried.
Yeah, Loco Barrio, by the way, who's one of the horses scratched in here. I think him and Tiger are both in
tomorrow.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. So, second ID with a 90 buyer. Not much debut to 90 buyers this time of year.
No, it's not. And that was a bit of a heavier track as well because we'd gotten some rain and it was slowly starting to dry out. And this horse will be tough today.
Well, let's play devil's advocate just so we can say we did it. Slim Slow Slider is a horse that's an older horse who's been racing against some of the better horses on the ground and doing very, very well. Second ID, a 3-year-old taking on winners for the first time. If he runs back to that figure, they're running for second money, but just play the devil's advocate.
Yeah, you have to in a spot like this. And this horse, I think maybe second ID, his hand will be forced a little bit earlier. Now the fact that he does draw the rail, Slim Slow Slider can sit off of him, and we'll see if he's got that closing kick. But to me, Slim Slow Slider is a horse that he needs to have it at the top of the stretch because you're not going to see him in the late stages battle back.
I completely agree with that. So the 3 and 5, the key contenders in a scratch-reduced 8th race. 9th race on the day. The storylines here are plentiful. Trust Me, Flakes, and Charlie's Wish. And those are the 3 key contenders in the Azalea. Scratch the 6, 1 of 1. It's a field of 7. You went with Flakes. I can't argue with that. Flakes with a game win last time out over Charlie's Wish.
Yep, and we'll pull up the replay. This was in the game face, and Charlie's Wish had to take second run to Flakes here. This was a muddy track this day. Flakes, though, wow, she was just impressive, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw her as a graded stakes winner eventually. When she switched into her right lead, Edgar got after her a little bit, and you see her tail kind of swishing, and Charlie's Wish, I don't want to take anything away from her because she did try very hard, but Flakes just geared down and leveled off in another type of way, and in a way we haven't seen her before. And in the gallop out of that race, Pete, she never passed Flakes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I was going to play the extra 16th of a mile card, being that Charlie's Wish, I think, probably wants 7/8 more than Flakes does. But Flakes turned her away and beat her on the square that day.
Yep.
The key rival to these horses is Trust Me, because Trust Me is making a huge class hike, but that last race was so good.
It was, and I was scratching my head a bit at that race because, this horse was running against some tough horses as a 2-year-old, but when you're debuting as a 3-year-old, sometimes that can be hard to follow up with when these horses, they just get so good and they can peak too early. She did get Lasix on for the first time in that last start, and I think that it helped her quite a bit, and now it's coming back off.
Well, you're certainly the horseman of the 2 people on this screen, but the grow-up angle is something that I've always been a big fan of, and I think that maybe this is a case with Trust Me where she really wasn't as precocious as they wanted her to be as a 2-year-old. They let her grow into herself, gave her some time, took their time. They start the 3-year-old campaign, and then she delivers a career-best figure with a big blowout win.
Yeah, a huge one, too, and they'll play her here today, and I'm not going to argue with anybody that says that they want to, but I just think that Flakes is just a little bit of cut above.
What do you think the pace scenario like is in here? Because I think Trust Me is going to get a little more pressure than she did last time out. And then if that pressure comes from Flakes, does that not set up Charlie's Wish?
It seems like it would. And, Kiki Love has shown speed before, and that muddy track, she really didn't. I think that she'll probably go. And Flakes is one. She showed last time she doesn't need the lead by any means. Trust Me, I think this is a filly that's going to be sent here. I think things could be a pretty decent clip on the front end.
And that certainly appears to be those 3, Flakes, Trust Me, and Charlie's Wish. And a very good feature race, the Azalea, goes as race number 9. 10th and final race, we're back on the main track for the Saturday finale. Maiden Claimers at a 1-mile trip. Scratch the 1, Noble Attitude. Scratch the 2, Street Cop Officer. Leaves us with a field of 7. Doc Ballard, he's had his chances, but he certainly appears to be in the right spot today.
I hope so. This is just a horse to me that he's 0 for 13. He is what he is. The good news is he tries each time. You can't knock him for that. They tried him on the dirt last time, and I think it actually played out quite well for him. But he has run well on the Tapeta, but he just hasn't won a race yet. And now he stretches out to that 1 mile distance. I think that's going to be key with him.
And I think that you would agree with me in saying that a lot of these horses are who they are at this point. There's not a whole lot. Sometimes in these races, there's some depth where you can see the horses on the improve,
Yes.
or they're changing things up. But at least with respect to this particular race, I don't see a whole lot of horses that aren't already exposed.
Yeah.
So then Doc Ballard seems to be in the right spot. And
Yes.
as you know, these maiden claimers, especially this time of year, sometimes it's just a war of attrition. Who runs second wins, and then who runs second to them wins.
Exactly. Yep. Definitely.
You taking a swing on anybody else at all? I mean, you make a case.
I think that I do like Love Spell, and this is a horse that I talk a lot about just because I've got personal experience with him. I used to get on him whenever Brendan Walsh had him. He's such a kind horse, and he's a good-looking horse. I always joke I'd like to see him in my backyard at one point. But he'll be bet, and he was really bet last time, and he tries hard. He just hasn't really he really is what he is. I don't know if he'll get this 1 mile distance here. They're trying something
never
new.
been 1 mile on the main track, though.
Exactly. So at least he is trying something new, and he's only had 5 starts. So.
Well, 10 up, 10 down. We won't sign off yet. We have a lightning round.
We
do
do,
that?
yeah.
And we also have Haskell thoughts, I think, right?
Yes, we do. Our world famous lightning round, and kicking the lightning round off. The feature we just spoke about. We've got the fillies here, and I feel like this is a good race, a good segue into a graded stakes later on.
Well, I love the storyline here, too, because you have Flakes, who was already taken on Charlie's Wish and beat her on the square.
Yep.
But then you have the unknown commodity, and trust me. So storylines are solid. Fun race to call. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we'll be excited to hear it as well. And it's a great feature race and part of the pick 5 and the pick 6, so get your picks in.
Best bet today? Second ID at 2 to 5?
No, it's Flakes for me. Yeah,
Wow.
the low-hanging fruit is what Ryan would call that one. Yeah, but 2 to 1 for me. If I get that, I'll be very happy.
I'll be interested to see how they bet Trust Me in that race.
I will too. Yep, that'll be fun.
Long shot today.
It's Vito's brother for me. 8 to 1 on the line. We had 1 scratch in the race. I still think I'll probably get that. They're going to bet Big Effect, and I'm going to try to steer you away.
They're going to bet Big Effect and Titan in that race.
Yes.
So I think you're solid. I think you get better than 8 to 1.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Well, we also have the Haskell here today.
We
Watch,
do.
wager, and win on all the action from Monmouth Park. Florida Derby and subsequent Kentucky Derby, Florida Derby participant.
Yes.
Subsequent Kentucky Derby winner, Mage, takes center stage in the Haskell at Monmouth today.
Yeah, and there he is yesterday training at at Monmouth Park for the Haskell. Wow, I mean, this horse, he's such a laid-back horse, but this photo to me, and thank you, Bill Denver, for this, this horse looks like he is ready to go. Now, it's a tough race.
It is.
It is a very tough race, but all of us here in South Florida, we're huge supporters of Mage and the team Gustavo Delgado that's got him there, and excited to see what he does. I know they've got the Travers in mind, but we've all got the hats today.
I only looked at it briefly, but it certainly appears that there's plenty of speed in there.
There does.
And Mage is, his biggest asset is his versatility. And I think that some of those other horses that may be good, like Arabian Night, he doesn't know what it's been like to be headed yet. So.
Yeah, and he might. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if Arabian Night is hooked up with maybe the Brad Cox horse as well. And we know Tappet Trice as well. He ran here at Gulfstream Park, and that horse to me, he's so even paced. It's hard for me to take a horse like that.
I hate to call him because you just never know.
Yeah.
Like I've asked you about a few horses like that. You just never know when they have any horse.
I know it.
That's something that for me frustrates me because that's what I try to pride myself in my race calls is who's traveling good and who's traveling not so good.
He's one that takes up a lot of ground, but all of us here to the connections of Mage at Haskell Day today in Monmouth, we wish you the best of luck.
Well, 10 up, 10 down, 26 minutes now to the opening contest. I'll get upstairs and get you caught up on any revised changes and rider changes, things like that. Sam, always a pleasure to see you.
You as
Better
well.
to work with you. Enjoy your afternoon, and everybody have a great day at Gulfstream.